Hello, Baker Investment students. It is Sunday, October 30th, 2022, and happy Halloween to everyone tomorrow. I'm Joe Barnhill, be your investments instructor for the next 7 weeks. And what I'll do is I'll post these out there typically every Sunday. Sometimes it might be a Saturday if the weekend's really busy, but usually just give you a preview and insights to your readings, expectations for that week. With this week, obviously you're going to cover chapters 1 and 2. You should have your electronic version of Fundamentals of Investing by Smart and Zuter. I think you're going to like the textbook. I think it's an easy read. There are some times that, just because the math involved in investing, you got to slow down your reading a little bit. But the main thing is, I think you're going to find this course very rewarding, both from a career perspective and also from a personal perspective, your own decisions to reflect on how you're investing. So, that's really what this course is about how portfolios are designed, investment strategy, and the critical thinking decisions you make to try to maximize whether it's a company's net worth or your own net worth. And ultimately, investing should be used as a tool. I'm an economist, so I kind of look at it from the ability to maximize your utility or level of happiness. So, well, a little bit about the course. First thing I want to just state is if you need to get a hold of me, the best way is via email. I'll get back to you that day or the following day at the latest. If you need to meet individually via Zoom, we can work that out. We just need to arrange a little bit of time for me to get everything set up for that. And then, but I will try to get back to you and do ask questions, especially if it has anything to do with the homework problems. With this course, you are going to have some various assignments. Obviously, as I just mentioned, the homework. I did put some templates out there for you. So I would highly encourage you just use the templates. What you're going to show me is just the formulas about how you derived your answers. And, if it's A2 times B2, just show me the work. And that's what I'm looking for when you're getting to those solutions. In addition to the homework, one thing I think you're going to really like is we're going to have you pick either 5 to 10 stocks. I redid my portfolio this weekend as an example. That is, I put a new Excel spreadsheet out there. And I want you all to use that template. Just make it easy on yourselves. But what I would suggest is go back and see what the purchase price and close price was this past Friday. That's what I did. I picked out 5 utility companies. You pick out something that interests you. But use 5 to 10. Pretend you have $1 million. Use whatever is like. Try to buy the maximum amount with the shares, with the dollars that you have, and if you have a little left over, put that in cash. And you're just going to track this week to week. So you pick a day, whether it's Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, when you want to look and see what the closing price is to post on the weekly forum discussion. We have a relatively small cohort, but I just ask that you post that by Saturday and then respond to 2 of your peers with a quality substantial post. And there's going to be some additional questions that you're going to have that you're going to be asked to address each week. So you're also going to have 2 main projects in this course. You're going to look at an investor manager style project. There's some famous ones out there, be it Warren Buffett, Peter Lynch, some that are controversial, even Michael Milton. I remember that from the 80s and all his bond trading. That's when I was in undergraduate school in the late 80s, early 90s. And it was interesting that President Trump gave him clemency, even though he was kind of a criminal. So, but in addition to that, you're also going to have a common assessment that you're going to look at a world event. The world event could be anything from the war in Russia and Ukraine going on right now, COVID. Big story right now, obviously, is interest rates and inflation. That's definitely impacted the stock markets. Even this past year, starting back in January, we kind of saw a high, and that's just been falling and falling. The Fed's just kept raising interest rates and interest rates. In fact, this week, pay attention on November 1st, 2nd. The Federal Reserve will release their new, 75 basis point increase in interest rates. And really what they're trying to do is just curb inflation. It's just been so high this year. And that in fact impacts the return on bonds. Bond funds have just been taking a hammering this year because as interest rates go up, the present value of the bond decreases. So that's something you learn more about and read about as we go through the course. And if you've had a finance course, that should sound familiar to you. So But nonetheless, for this week in the week's readings, chapter 1 is really going to kind of give you an introduction to the financial environments, the different types of investments, whether they be mutual funds, bonds, short-term money market funds. And it's also just to talk about, derivatives and, how you manage those purchasing decisions. But furthermore, just, like almost like a philosophy, your risk tolerance. Like you look at different periods of your life and you look where a company is too, whether they're a new company or a mature company. But bottom line, I always tell my students, it needs to be explicitly written out. Even if you all never, touch anything with investments, if you are in some way in form of management in charge of a company, you need to make sure you outline specific rules about what a firm is allowed to invest in. Most firms, especially governmental ones, I work for a state college right now in Lynn, Missouri. It is, we're very limited on what we can invest in. It's going to be safe, liquid. We're going to do any high risk derivatives or anything like that would risk, losing all our money and putting the college in financial peril. So, but you'd be surprised if sometimes that those rules aren't written out well. And then also for you as individuals, if you're working by yourself or with a partner, what are your goals in life? How are you going to get there? So investing is just a tool, but it's about planning and what is your risk tolerance, and probably that risk tolerance and needs are going to change throughout your lifetime too. So I'm 54, so I'm starting to think about retirement. I'm not there yet. I still have a long way to go, especially with the cost of health insurance these days. I saw the increase in the prices that I have to pay for insurance. This time of year is usually the enrollment. It's like, man, this is eating away at a lot of my income just to pay for health insurance, which is unfortunate. That's just everything right now with inflation. In fact, it's one of the reasons why short-term accounts, savings accounts and those things, especially when inflation is at 8%, from an investing perspective, that's not good because your real returns are negative right now. So that's why it's important to strategize and think about, hey, how are we going to make sure we have a positive return on our investments because inflation is eating away so much of that return. So, but that's a lot of chapter 1. Chapter 2, you're going to get a lot more into some of the details of the New York Stock Exchange. I put a brief video out there from the current president of the New York Stock Exchange. I thought it was interesting to hear a little bit of her perspectives on the market and designated market maker. And you'll read about different exchanges in chapter 2. You also will read about margin trading to understand that. I believe you have a homework problem on that one. But again, you'll spend a little time on securities laws, but kind of understanding, the difference between going short or long, kind of as a speculative way to invest. So you're going to get some good exposure this week. But again, we have a small cohort. I think there's only 6 people, but I'm really looking forward to working with you all the next 7 weeks. It will go by quickly, so just stay on top of things. But again, if you do have any questions, do make sure to reach out to me. Kind of just wrap things up. The market the past week actually has done quite well, so that's encouraging news. The S&P, I think we're now in a bearish market because it's down more than 20% from the high back in January. But GDP showed some positive promise. There's a little bit of a kind of a 50-50 coin toss whether we're going to go to recession next year. A lot of company executives are worried about that, but then you have some companies like big oil that have been making a lot of money. Other tech companies that have not been making money. So we'll just kind of see what happens over the next 6 weeks, 7 weeks, especially with your portfolios. Some of it is going to be company specific, but also some of it's going to be systemic, just based on how the overall economy and the future is going to look. And if we can get crazy Putin to stop the war in Ukraine, which I don't think he's going to do, that would really help the global economy and global markets. So, but that's getting really messy over there, so hopefully things get resolved. But other than that, look forward to talking to you online, so you'll have a great week. And do send me an email if you have any questions. Take care.